Hurricane City monthly special of the Barometer Bob Show. If you would like to talk about any weather subject during the show, give Barometer Bob a call anywhere nationwide and from the Caribbean on our toll-free number at 888-372-8890. Or you can email Bob at barometerbob@yahoo.com. Now, on to our monthly weather show with Barometer Bob.
Hi, folks. I'm Barometer Bob here live from Pompano Beach, Florida at HurricaneCity.com. Sorry about that little glitch we had there at the beginning, but I'll tell you, he's got a nice setup here in this room. Jim Williams with the Weather Audio Broadcast Network. And good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Bob. It's a pleasure to be meeting you for the first time. We've talked over the phone many times, done a lot of shows together, and here we are, side by side, broadcasting for the unfortunate Memorial Day.
Right.
But anyway, the floor is yours. It's glad to see you here.
All right. Thanks, Jim. We're going to do a brief memorial, and again, I apologize for the slight glitch there. And we're going to do a brief memorial. It is September 11th, 2002. 1 year ago today. We know the attacks that happened at the World Trade Centers in downtown New York. So just bear with us and listen to the clips that we've put together for the next few minutes, and I'll be right back. Thank you.
This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers. What kind of plane? Was it a small plane, a jet?
It was a jet.
You're talking about a large passenger commercial jet.
Large passenger commercial jet.
Several hundred I saw leaving the grounds were told and ordered by the Secret Service to run.
Come on, guys, go! No choice, right now. Women stays, there's the ones you want, go.
Plane crash in Somerset, Pennsylvania. We don't know if it's a big plane, a small plane.
Another plane has crashed, this one about 80 miles south of Pittsburgh.
It was extremely loud.
And actually was over the horizon. It was a big, huge fireball.
It's just been a huge explosion. We can see a cascade of sparks and fire.
Today we've had a national tragedy.
This is Ann Compton with a pool report. I am with the President in Louisiana. We were not told where we would land until the time came. We do not know when, where, or how he is going to leave.
This is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life.
We lost Deputy Commissioner Feehan, Chief Gansey, Father Judge, and Ray Downey.
The city is confirming that some 265 firefighters are believed to be dead, some 85 police officers missing.
Well, folks, again, it's September 11th, 2002, 1 year ago. We had the attacks at the World Trade Center. Where were you last year? You can call it in at 1-888. I'm sorry, Jim. 1-888-372-8890. The phones will be open during the broadcast, and we'd like to hear where you were and what you were doing on September 11th, 2002.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a little story about that. I was working at the time. I'm a contractor in Broward County, and I saw these people running out of this building, and it happened to be a Jewish center I was working at, so there was a heightened state of, I guess, anxiety from those people, and I was doing some striping out in the parking lot, and the people came running out, going crazy. We've been attacked. We're under attack. And so I jumped in the truck and started listening to the radio. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All the radio stations, the planes flying into the buildings, and I kind of, when they first told me, I was just really not that. I mean, I didn't believe what I was hearing, and kind of had doubts about how severe it was until I turned the radio on, and then it just. From that day forward, for the next few days, I couldn't think of anything else other than the terrorist attacks.
Right, yeah. I just happened to be off that day sitting at home. My wife decided to take the kids to school that morning, and she had heard something briefly on the radio and come running inside. What's happening, and right about that time, the second plane hit the other tower. And, I'm born and bred American, and I'll tell you, I had tears that morning. I had a flagpole outside that was strictly put up for my hurricane flags. Had a brand new flag still in the box that I had planned on putting on my 80-foot tower when I get up. And that flag just came down this morning at 8:46 a.m. by my wife, because I'm here live in Pompano Beach, Florida with Jim here at Hurricane City. And my wife went out and changed that flag and put up a brand new flag this morning. So I'm going to tell you, it's a dark day in America's history, but we will rise stronger. And we will be a prouder nation when all of this is gone, and the world will be thankful for the United States of America for doing and fighting terrorism the way that we're going to take care of it, the way that I believe we will. But
yeah, and another thing about the anniversary of this, it kind of, all the emotions came running back. Today when I was listening on the radio again in the same truck where I heard the radio the first time when this all happened, and hearing all the sound bites of all the, like we just played for you a short time ago, just brought all these emotions rushing back to me. And I didn't know anybody that was there. I didn't know. I've been to New York City once when I was a child. I've never been in the World Trade Center. I have been in the John Hancock building in Chicago. That's the tallest building in the world, I think it is. They have a nice radio station up there. And I've been in some other buildings in the Capitol, but I've never been in the World Trade Center. But when I've heard all those reports coming in today, all the old audio clips from that day, it just hit me. And also, I lost my mother this year, so it's been a rough year for me personally and financially as well. And it's just all I hope is that this day, once it's over with, everybody can get on with their lives and get this economy back to the way it should be. And everybody can. I know the people that were affected are never going to forget this. It's never going to go away. But for those of us that were not directly affected, I hope we can get the economy back and get this country back on its feet and move forward.
Right. In one way or another, America was affected, each and every one of us. And I'll tell you, our economy it has suffered from the day last year, and but economically, worldwide, we are strong. And the consumers, you people, the listeners, everybody that even logs on to the internet or goes out to the store and buys groceries or goes and buys their kids a new pair of shoes, the consumers are the ones that are going to bring this country back to its greatness it was prior to September 11th. So, I contacted FEMA in Washington, D.C. A couple of weeks ago. I was trying to get someone to call in just for 10, 15 minutes to explain, to give us an idea how weather affects disasters. And the funny thing is Hurricane Aaron, Jim has brought this up before, and Hurricane Aaron, if we had had a high-pressure ridge in place over New England or the Canadian Maritimes, this whole disaster would have been averted because of Hurricane Aaron. And it's just the strangest thing that weather plays such a role that things can happen and don't happen. And because of the anniversary of September 11th, FEMA declined. They were not able to come and be on the show for a brief period of time because of all the anniversary specials that they had set up. They were shorthanded themselves. So FEMA has done a great job up there. FEMA has done great jobs everywhere across the country when it's come to disasters. They've learned a lot from Hurricane Andrew 10 years ago. So if you're struck by disaster, just be prepared for the first few days, and FEMA will be there to help you along. And with that said, I'd like to give a few moments of silence. So, back with the Barometer Bob Show. Okay, folks.
We're side by side.
Yeah, Jim. Me and Jim sitting side by side. Hopefully, this will be a one-time. Well, we'll do it more on occasion, hopefully. But tonight, we're doing pretty good down here. South Florida's under a urban flood watch, and I had to pick the great time to come down here and get some rain. So, since the last show, there's been some wild and crazy weather across the United States. One day it'll be nice and quiet. Next day you'll have a number of tornadoes and hail and wind reports. And, you know, I like to start the show off with these reports from across the United States and little data tidbits and stuff. But since the last show, that was on August 14th, we've had 921 hail reports, 865 wind reports, and 58 tornadoes. Our highest severe weather date was August 26th with 12 tornadoes, 148 wind reports, and 172 hail reports. Our lowest severe weather date, which was August 29th, 3 days later, 0 tornadoes, 1 wind report, and 6 hail reports. So a matter of just a couple of days makes a big difference, especially during the summer, I'm sure. Flooding from Faye in Texas and Louisiana. From everybody's probably seen on the news some of the areas that have been inundated by the floodwaters from the heavy rainfalls in some areas caused by Faye. And if that low pressure was, she didn't want to die. She just wanted to get back over water. I think she was thirsty for something, so she created her own water. But there was some areas that had some good flooding over there. Texas didn't need it, especially around Corpus Christi, where they got a lot. There was some minor surge damage along some of the beaches, and but that was pretty much it. Tropical Storm Gustav, which is now Hurricane Gustav. If anybody has been paying attention, they would know this. It's 41.2, which I haven't, at 65.7. Northeast at 35 miles an hour is the movement. The barometric pressure is down to 964. And the winds are at 90 miles per hour. So we had a hurricane that deepened during the day today, dropped 20 millibars since this time last night. So that is a deepening tropical cyclone, which can have 24 hours. Now imagine if that was headed towards your house.
Yeah, and they don't seem to be taking this very seriously. I was listening to the radio stations earlier from Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, and they're just saying, some high winds, some rain, foggy conditions they're expecting, but they're not making a big deal out of this.
Right, I just briefly caught that on the World News tonight as I was hitting the door to come up here to Pompano. And again, the phone number is 888-372-8890, and if you'd like to send an email instead of calling in, the email address is hercity, HURCITY, at bellsouth.com. .net. I keep getting that wrong, don't I? Every month. Golly, gee. All right, guys. By
the way, we're going to be doing some giveaways again.
Right. Jim's going to fill you all in on that giveaway right now. See, I've been kind of like on the road and bouncing from this place to that place and down here visiting family and taking care of some errands I needed to take care of, and a lot of friends down here that are going to be happy to see me already. I'm surprised myself. Oh, let's see. This year's dangerous tropical cyclones will be given names. Subtropical cyclones. Okay, well, they did this last year, I believe, also. So they're just letting the public know in on it. This is an article from Miami.com, South Florida's homepage, and they're stating that the National Hurricane Center will be giving dangerous subtropical storms names. Now, they did this last year, and we noticed that we actually got up to 15 named storms last year. We had 3 subtropical storms, Jim, is that correct? Last year?
I don't have the answer to that. I know we had, what was it?
Olga?
Karen or something? No, not Karen. What was the one up near Bermuda? That caused a lot of problems last year up in Bermuda. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now on that storm, but I can look that up.
It's, I believe one was Dennis. Olga and Karen, if I'm correct. I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, they started doing this last year, and they're just pretty much letting the public know that they will be giving names to subtropical storms, which is actually going to blow Dr. Gray's predictions out of the water, because here we're at we got a new TD that's developing in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, this is what I wanted to get with you people. We're watching a system in the Gulf of Mexico, and based upon recon, located at 26.2, 86.6, we have a new tropical depression, number 9, and the barometric pressure was at 1,001 millibar.
Yep,
1,001 millibar.
I'm sorry. 1,001 millibars, according to recon. 35-mile-per-hour winds, and let's see, its bearing is 321, so that would make it. That was the bearing of the aircraft coming in from the northwest. Let's see here. Maximum flight level wind 21 knots. Maximum flight level wind 21 knots in the northwest quadrant, but we do have a 35-mile-per-hour surface wind, so we may have a tropical depression at 11.
Right, and so we'll be looking at that at 11 o'clock, as I'm sure all of you. You can drop in Storm Chat, discuss the weather, learn the weather, share your thoughts. So what happened September 11th? You can call in, let us know where you were September 11th, and as you can tell, we are flying by the seat tonight because everything's been running. It's raining up here. I had to drive 25 miles up I-95 in a torrential downpour on a highway that I haven't been on in 4 years, so there's a few new fingerprint indentations on my steering wheel. And Hurricane Gustav again is at 41.2, 65.7, with winds of 90 miles an hour moving northeast 38 miles per hour with a barometric pressure of 964. We were discussing in Storm Chat last night about a tornado in Wisconsin, Ladysmith, Wisconsin. Yeah, I was digging around the internet last night, and I couldn't find any information, even via the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center. They had no report of a tornado in Ladysmith, Wisconsin. So if you guys can dig up the information, maybe email it to us, we would greatly appreciate it, and we'll send it over. We'll send it over the internet airwaves and mention your name during the show. Jim?
Well, I guess we're gonna give away a few things tonight, and one of them is going to be the laminated hurricane tracking chart, courtesy of maptracks.com. And our question for tonight, I've made up the question tonight because Bob's in town. He's been real busy, and I'm fortunate to have him here tonight. We've met for the first time, and so Bob is here, but he has not figured out a question to ask, so I'm going to go ahead and come up with a question here. First person that can answer this question right is going to win a laminated hurricane tracking chart, courtesy of maptracks.com. And the question is, what year had the maximum number of hurricanes form in the Atlantic Basin? First person that can call us up, 888-372-8890, will win a laminated hurricane tracking chart courtesy of maptracks.com. And that number again, 888-372-8890. Also, if you'd like to make a comment about September 11th, if you knew somebody that was there, or you were there, or maybe you were there, or had a relative, unfortunately, if you lost a relative, or know somebody that lost a relative, we'd like to hear from you, especially in reference to September 11th. But anyway, the phone lines are open. I know a lot of people are watching a lot of specials on television tonight. There's been all day long September 11th. Again, as we stated earlier, we hope that once this day is over with, our country can start moving forward and get away from the September 11th talk. Because I remember last year, it seemed like September 11th, when that happened, the hurricane season basically went down, and I mean, nobody cared about it anymore, and there really wasn't much after September 11th, after Aaron anyways. Well, there was, but
nothing of significance, because everybody was directing their attention to the disaster in New York City. I'm a Yankee, I was born in Westchester County, New York, which is just north of Long Island in the city. And I'd been to Macy's and all through downtown, but I moved down here when I was a young whippersnapper, as you can say, and I was only about 6 years old when we moved down here to Florida. And I don't know the World Trade Centers. I've seen the World Trade Centers from across the East River. From the Jersey side, I took my kids down to Newark, and we stood there right on the banks of the river and looked over at the World Trade Centers, which is a sight. I mean, just standing on the opposite side of the river there, it's like two giants, two Goliaths. Just you're going to get whiplash just looking all the way up to the top. And my daughter goes up north during the summer and visits with her grandmother and her uncle and our family and friends that are up there. And Grandma takes her into the city and everything. They went to the Empire State Building that summer before that, and they didn't go into the World Trade Center for some reason, but from the Empire State Building, the two buildings were still taller than you could imagine. So
I'm amazed at how those buildings came straight down without falling over. You know, and especially the second tower, or the first tower, because the plane came in low and hit the bottom of that tower, and I'm surprised it didn't just fall over.
Well, from what I was watching today, it was partially in design. If there was any type of, if the foundation or something ever gave way, that's how that they were designed to come down, was on one floor on top of the other. They were explaining something about the fireproofing that they had around the steel structure of the building. When the plane hit, it blew all that fireproofing away off of the steel, and that is what weakened the structure up there on the upper floors. And then it just began the pancake effect, floor to floor to floor, as it started to come down. And I can't imagine something like this ever happening again. You know, they've got us at level orange, which is high on the security level. They're worried that something else is going to happen again. But hey, we're Americans. We'll keep going. This country's been here for more than 200 years. We fought the British, the French, the Spanish, the Indians, and I'm part Indian. I'm part Blackfoot Indian. So we took the land basically away from the Indian. But I'll tell you, we should learn to share it, not just with the native Indians, but with everyone in the entire world, because this country is the greatest, and we deserve to be treated as Americans.
You know, I found interesting today on the Weather Channel, I don't know if anybody out there was watching the Weather Channel today, but they were doing a recap of how they were covering the weather during the September 11th attacks. And I remember turning on the Weather Channel the day of those attacks, because I thought to myself, I want to see what the Weather Channel talks about, because they're all, no matter what the story is, the Weather Channel the forecasters always have that same look on their face. It's almost like they have no emotions, you know. And I turned on the Weather Channel, and sure enough, there's normal talking about. I mean, they looked glumly, though. I mean, the forecasters were so distraught, and you know, they were doing the normal weather, but you could tell by looking at their faces, like normally they're smiling and they're upbeat, and there's in the Midwest is looking nice and clear this afternoon, and there's a front coming into the Northwest, and this time they were like, there's a front in the Northwest. You know, it was like their voices were just so demoralized over this. I mean, I'm laughing about it, but it's something that's.
Hi, I'm Barometer Bob, live from Pompano Beach, Florida, at HurricaneCity.com, courtesy of Weather Audio Broadcast Network. Sitting here next to Jim Williams. We're going to get back to some United States weather real quick. We currently have no severe weather being reported, and basically it's just some, we have flood watches and flood warnings and flash flood watches. Flash flood watches are in southern Utah, southwestern Colorado, northeastern Arizona, and western New Mexico, of Long Island. So,
Lake City,
Florida Peninsula.
And really, I'm telling you, the peninsula's going to get a lot more rain from this than us in the Panhandle, even if it comes in Panama
there was so much flooding in Baker County. It took them months to rebuild the roads out there and stuff. That kind of rainfall is not a welcome sight in the rural areas like that.
Yep. And as close to the services.
It gets up towards the Panhandle. We'll see probably Tallahassee and Madison and Lake City. We'll see a lot of rain from this, as well as along the coastal regions.
Yep, looks like it's going to be a fun day tomorrow, guys. I'll leave it with you. I got to get on the air. Talk to you soon.
All right, Jason. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, that was Jason Kelly from Panama City. And, well, that's it, Jim.
Let's go ahead and wrap up this broadcast. It's 10:55 Eastern Time, and you're listening live to the Barometer Bob Show. We want to thank you all for listening in, and if you've missed any portion of this, we will have, we won't have most of it. We'll have about a third of this on recorded, and we'll have a clip available at hurricanecity.com and hurricanehollow.com. and weatheraudio.net and usweatherwatchers.com. A lot of websites there.
Yeah. There's links at U.S. Weather Watchers and Hurricane Hollow and at Hurricane City. And listen to the live feed, and you might hear it looping on the live broadcast. We'll have it playing about once every 4 hours. Well, that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. You guys keep an eagle eye out to the sky. This is Barometer Bob Show, September 11th, 1992. 2002. We'll see you next month. Stay warm and stay dry.